It's still inside this program, right? But it's a calibrator. The sun is a calibrator that's releasing signals into the earth, and through the Schumann resonance, we can deposit and pick up the frequency of what the sun is relaying to say, you can handle, you are this, but you're there realizing that you are this. So it's going to translate us through frequency as we journey through the earth. Yep. So it's like a huge cell that holds capacity, and it releases in increments as the calibration of implosion and explosion, because that's what a star is. Now, I'm talking about you now. I'm personalize this. Do not distance anything that Carrie and I say from yourselves. Go look in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, I'm the sun. If I am the sun, then I am in the climactic position of explosion and implosion that holds space. I'm neither this exploding nor that imploding. I am everything of in between that. That's what a star is. You have capacity on that dimension to contain what we see as representation of the sun. If you want to see a glimpse of your potential and your capacity, just go look outside and look at that. That is what's inside of you, and it's teaching us to become it through the calibration while we journey in the expression of Ara, the earth. And so we're in this vibration of becoming that. So again, when we do this, it's like, know what the sun is. If you're making love, it's the orgasmic state of never climaxing, but you're held in that position of the ultimate position of this and that, right? You've reached the climax, but you're not in that place of releasing, right? You're in the complete holding pattern. We can't comprehend that. We cannot comprehend that because our body wants to release right away because we don't have the capacity yet. But what's coming is capacitors that have built the expansion, the wineskin, which she's talking about. They have been for and against themselves. They pitched the nature of outside and inside, and they now have the capacity to contain the essence of what the nature of the sun is. It's a nature of being. It's a signature of divine exchange. Shemesh. Ooh, that's a lot of energy.
Yes. So not only does it mean to be a servant, to serve, but it's also a prophet and a priest.
Everything.
And a teacher.
We can't give it right. We can't serve it correctly from our limitation of articulation. It's impossible. The best expression that we can say to really determine what it is when we simply shut our mouth and go inward into the meditation of your absolute of all. I don't need to hear it. You don't need to hear it. You just simply need to be aware of it, because that's what this is. We're simply showing awareness to what you deem yourself to be. But it's a star. So how do you define that, right? We limit it. As soon as we open our mouth, we start touching the ultimate expression of unlimited potential. So go in and just simply be a star. It's based on the simplistic nature of neutrality. I'm neither this nor that. I'm the absolute. And how can I define that? That's a very mature thing to bring that in, to say is simply, it doesn't need to express itself. It is, right? And in that I explode, but in that I contract.
So with this word today and everything that Ken just shared, go and meditate on it. The photon light energy that is coming from the sun is the creative energy. It is in and through all things, and that is how creation happens, is through photonic light energy coming from the sun. So when you take this word and you realize it is you, and you go inside here and you meditate on it, and you start broadcasting love and gratitude, guess what you're creating? This, if this does not resonate with you yet, but I shared with you all of those moving parts, take the light of the sun, the photonic light energy from the sun, which is what they would call the logos, but we know is the word, Melfa. The Melfa that is coming from the sun in the form of photonic light energy, because Melfa is photonic light energy that creates through the word Melfa. Take that through the flame letters and meditate on it. Give love and gratitude. Think upon these things and then give love and gratitude here and see what you create today. Because we know through cymatics, these words change matter. That means it will change you to become more wave than particle. You are the freaking light of the sun. Do you think we need to keep changing our avatar suit so we can handle it? Be a capacitor, be the arc? Oh my gosh, this is so good. Meditate on these things today. Yes, Rick?
Just because you brought it up, I thought I would share a little bit from last night. Well, I was invited out to a steak dinner, at the local restaurant, and several friends were meeting there. I walked in a little bit later because I had a couple things to do. Well, they happened to be seated right in the middle of the room. Well, when they walked in, I give my standard. Well, hello, you lucky people. You are so blessed I am here. Well, my friends have all heard me say that, and they're like, oh, and several people were laughing. If they could hear it around, they were laughing. But at that moment, Ruka Dakucha got a hold of me. I looked around, I could see lots of coffee cups and water. So one of the ladies I was being led to do something. So one of the ladies that was at the table there, her name was Brenda. I said, Brenda, follow me. So we walked up by the bar area, and they had warming plates with coffee, coffee on it with decaf and regular coffee, and then they had pitchers of water. I said, grab the water. We went around to every table in the restaurant, and we filled their coffee cups and their water. We got done, and when I got all done, everybody stood up, like, yay, and it wasn't from the, doing it to me, but see, it's that spirit of serving.
Yes.
That love, and I know who I am type thing, and it just spread. It was contagious. I had so many people when they got done, they come over and shook my hand, and can we interrupt you for a minute? Can we get a picture? I'm like, oh my God, they had a good time. But that's what my standard thing from my friends, that hey, it's who we really are.
That's right.
Express it.
And Rick, I'm so glad that you shared that, because this was something that you just totally cemented a thought that I was mulling over all week long. Every single day, this thought kept coming about. And the difference is the intention behind it. When I was in the church, I was taught to serve. And I was taught that I had to go do certain things. But I'll tell you what, it's a complete difference when you know that you are the light of the sun, because everything that you do in serving is from the overflow, and not for the sake of trying to get something, trying to get the favor of God, trying to do something because this is what I do as a Christian. It's the natural manifestation of who we already are. There's no thought about that I need to. I am. I am the gift that gives. I am the gift that shows up. And wherever there is lack, I feel the lack because I serve. And not because I have to, because it's my joy to, because that's who I am. The sunlight gives. Does it not? It doesn't judge. It doesn't say, oh, all the good people get sunlight and all the bad people get the shade and the dark and the shadow. No! It shines on the just and the unjust. And so you just totally cemented when I was thinking about my heart posture when I was in the church. I felt like I had to give, and it was a chore, and it was not a joy. But I did it because that's what I was told to do. That was indoctrinated to believe that that's what a Christian does. Oh, Rick, that was so good. And you know what? It is contagious.
I had so much fun, and I think everybody else there did too. It added to their joy. People really enjoyed themselves, and even afterwards, the waitress came by. I said, "Man, it's one of the best tip nights we ever had." And they said, "Are you coming back tomorrow?"
Well, I love it in the language. Again, I'm trying to connect it to practicality so we can see what your expression actually generated, right? So this is how I hear what Rick did. Because this is how it just speaks to me. He functioned out of generosity.
Yep.
And so now everything that we're sharing is the language of Tan, is the language of nobility. It just means out of your enlargement. So again, we can take these words and start pulling them apart. Enlargement means out of your flow, you have excess. And out of my excess, I am generous. And out of my generosity, I give abundantly or extravagantly. That's what Rick did. He demonstrated Tani or Tana, a dragon. Only a vibration. He sees large. He enacted enlargement by engaging the room in a noble stance of generosity. That's what the world needs to see right now. So we can connect it to what Carrie's saying, right? And we can connect it to what this freakish thing of dragon, Leviathan, is in the narrative. If you arise out of your true nature, there you shall be in the extravagance of abundance, and the room will overflow in that level of wealth.
And this is because Rick chose to serve, and it wasn't his job.
Right.
The waitress's job was to pour the coffee and pour the water. That's what her work, her job was. He just simply did it because it was the joy of his heart to do that. Now, Shemesh, the actual outpouring of the sunlight equals joy. That's what it is. It's just joy. It just flows forth. Light flows forth in joy. Chata or chadutha, you've heard me say this many times. Chata is the root word. Chadutha is when you put a vav in the middle of it. Chad is a root that means unified. Ta is the sacred chamber of the heart. Ka on the outside is life. Dat on the inside is the fiery law. The fiery law, which leads to life, is unification in the heart, where you've completed the union as one. And that produces joy, and that produces the light of the sun. That's why we're sweeping everything out.
That's why we're sweeping it all out.
Get it all out of the way.
This is upon us right now. This season is here. As of today, This new moon cycle is Ra'ah. It means those that see and those that speak in the abundance of wealth. They are the Rafim. They are the healers of old, the walkers of old in the way of old, as if they never left. They fully return to themselves as absolute. That is the abundant grace of no longer being in disgrace. This is the ancient order of the dragon, nobility. That's what is upon us right now.
Amen. With pain and suffering and separation and disease, all of those things that shock the system, it would actually cause the avatar body to just fritz out and not be able to operate. So you have to kind of be overlaid with a template of pain and suffering to even be here, which is crazy to me, but we're collapsing all of that. So where am I going with this? I'm glad the connection is getting better. I see that. I have all 4 green bars now, so that's good. Maybe, yeah, well, that's good. I'm not going to go what I was going to say here, but let me show you something other than going through that verse, because it was just too bogged down for all of you guys to see. I will record it on some other date, and I'll just do it by myself, and I'll share it. And then if anybody wants to watch it, they can, but they don't need to be on the live stream doing it. We need to talk about additive and subtractive colors, because this was the part that really made a lot of sense for me. Knowing that we are light, and there's this purity of this transparent light of that central pillar when all of our chakras come online. When we can really understand how transparent light operates as the giving of the light, it makes a lot more sense of why Westworld is the way it is, and why we've seen movies like The Matrix when it was shared with us that we were a bunch of copper top batteries. It'll make more sense when I show you these screens so you can see it for yourself. Sir Isaac Newton, when he was 23 years old, made an incredible discovery. And by using prisms and mirrors, and I really want you to hold on to that word mirror. Some of you will probably already feel where I'm going with this, that with this mirror, he was able to combine 3 colors together, red, green, and blue. And when he did that, he was able to create this white light, this pure light. And he demonstrated that the 3 primary colors of white light are red and green and blue. Now, when I was a hairdresser, I was taught something different of what the primary colors were. And that is subtractive colors. We'll get there in a moment. But the way I want you to think about it is that if you were to have 3 flashlights, and you were to take one flashlight and share, its circular beam on the wall, and then you brought in another flashlight and you overlapped it, and then you brought in a third one, every single time one of those flashlights came in, the color got lighter, it got brighter. Now I want you to envision them as one with this like transparent red film, one with green, and one with blue. And when they all come together in the very center, it produces this beautiful white transparent light. And I'm going to share this with you so that you can actually see it for yourselves, because it helps to be able to see these things. And then you're going to see the colors that they create when they're joined together. Because what they create, well, I'll just show you. It makes it easier if I just show you. This is what they create when they join together. Red and green, when it comes together, makes yellow. And when red and blue together, it makes magenta. When blue and green come together, it creates, is it cyan or cyan? I think it's cyan. I think that's how you say it. I should have looked that up. CYAN. This is what is being produced when the lights come together in the prisms and they create this beautiful spectrum. But right in the middle, it is white. It is pure, it's clear, it's transparent. This is the photonic light energy that is coming from the sun. This is who we are. We've been clothed. We've been clothed in our avatar suits where we have darkened our light. But on the inside, when all of the chakras come online, that is who we are from the inside out. And notice how the background is dark on this. Well, there's a reason why. And this will make more sense in just a moment here when I share this. Now let's talk about subtractive color. Subtractive color results like when we mix together paints or inks. And so if any of you have had to replace your ink on your color printers, what are the colors that you buy? Yellow, magenta, and cyan. You might call them blue, pink, and yellow, however you want to discuss it. But those are the primary colors that are used in inks and in paints. And this is all the colors that you see of non-light emissive objects, such as textiles, paints, plastics, inks. All of those materials, they reflect the incident light that falls upon them. This is important for us to really comprehend the way that it works in Westworld. The distinction in those two color systems really comes down to the chemical makeup of the objects involved and how they reflect light. Additive colors, that is based upon objects that emit light, and the subtractive deals with material objects that don't emit light. Okay, where are you going with this? Let me show you now what it looks like for those that don't emit light. We'll get back into here. Give me a second so I can share the screen. There you go. Do you notice how the center is black? How interesting is it that the secondary colors in those who emit light are on the outside, but that which makes light now has moved on the inside. That red, the red and the green and the blue. Now I want you to take a look at them side by side here. This was the part that when I was doing my research on this, that I was really blown away when I saw these two side by side. Because this makes a whole lot of sense when we're looking at this as how Westworld works in projections, and why the taking is something that is necessary in order to make this inverted Westworld work. This is literally how the Matrix is working right now in this simulation with these color spectrums. So the object on the left here with the red and the green and the blue, it has a background that is black. This is where we would get the word darkness from if we want to understand that it's in the darkness that the white light is able to be seen. But in reality, that's what we are. We've projected our consciousness into this darkness in order for the light to be seen. Now, on the other side of it, entities that don't generate light, that are in the entropic state, they have to take that which is being reflected So you can see this yellow, this magenta, and cyan. Whatever is being projected from those who generate light, they take it, and look what happens here. When those combine, then you have the red and the green and the blue that are surrounding the black. Why is that important? Because the red and the green and the blue is that which is generating the light, which is that which is real. So, I know that discussions have been coming up lately, and I've seen people be posting about non-players. And it's interesting how you can take a look at it. You can see the non-players, the NPCs, however you want to talk about it. It was something that bothered me a long time ago when I was hearing people saying about these NPCs that they're non-players. And there's two ways that you can see this. You can actually see that a non-player is somebody who has unified themselves. Like, I choose not to play in Westworld. I don't take sides anymore. I don't have that divided mindset where I'm having that need for comparisons anymore, because I've been able to unify. I was able to unify myself on the inside. And then it allows me to see everything in Westworld as absolute love. I don't judge anything. I don't separate. There's no hatred. There's no malice. It's just absolute love. And when one gets in that place, they begin generating all this light, this beautiful light that happens. Because in this generation of this light, of what's happening, is I'm emitting photonic light energy. And because I'm emitting photonic light energy, that is Kaya. That is life. That is salvation. And that's exactly what Yeshua was talking about. Anana is the light of the world. So think about that sunlight generating from the inside of our avatar. The non-players, you could connect this to those who are soulless. They're soulless. Their heart chakra is not online. It is completely closed off. Now, why is this important? There's a wave of blue energy that is here now, that is coming, that is a very strong energetic signature. And I am going someplace, and I will be landing the plane shortly because we've already been going for over an hour here. When we are here in Westworld, it is our job to get our heart online. And if you take a look at the lower energies of the chakras, the red, the orange, and the yellow, these are things that are operating in lower matrix land that are actually feeding into the matrix. If we can stay in that place of fear, separation, shame, malice, anger, bitterness, frustration, any of those lower vibratory energies, these are the things that we project outwardly that feed the matrix in the land of naught, because they don't really exist. They only exist in this lower level. So when I was showing you those images of the center that was white and the other one that was dark, one was photonic light energy and then the other one was absence. Those who are in the absence state have not gotten their chakras, their heart chakra online. And so the only way that they can have energy and exist in this lower dimension is they have to take light. They have to take light from those who are emitting light. Everyone that has come in that is real within the lower matrix system already has a spark of that in order to be here. You could call it a burning ember. It's up to us to get our light on, to get our flame on, to get our nura on, so the whole system comes online. But when that happens, it actually will cause those who are soulless to not come in our presence anymore, because it is too intense. Because what they are feeding off of is our triggers. This is really important that you grasp a hold of this. They feed off of the triggers. So whenever you are dealing with somebody that is soulless and they are trying to inflict shame, guilt, if they're trying to harm you, bring suffer, or get you to rouse out of your shalom state of being, they are feeding off of that energy. Now, some of you, and I don't like weaponizing this word, But we can use narcissism as an example, because a narcissist has turned off their heart chakra. They have to get their narcissistic feed from individuals that are emoting something that is in those lower chakras of the survival system of pain and suffering and anger and hatred and all of that. That's what they're feeding off of. Because let's go back to that image again. This is what they're feeding off of. So our projections, so here in the red and the green and the blue making the white, our secondary colors are the magenta, the yellow, and the cyan, or the cyan. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, and I'm not really concerned about it. This would be that which is coming from our subconscious, where this is from our conscious level. So the subconscious is holding these secondary colors in it. And when we move into that place of emoting something that is coming out from us, this is the food that is then taken in over here, that is taken in by the soulless ones in order to bring those primary colors on, to give them energy, because they're not creating their own energy. They literally like are a sucking void, a black hole that has to take that secondary light in order to give them the light that they need to operate in Westworld. Do you see how that is operating? This is a big deal if you can actually see what this is sharing with us, and why it is important in understanding that Anana is that which is producing that central pillar of light, and it's called the Yed. It's a Yod and a Dalet, which could be, if you want to say it this way, it's connected to the letter Yod, the little tiny Yod, the smallest of all the letters. This is how you would spell it, Yod Dalet, and it literally means a hand. So if we go back to the very beginning of that verse, when it was Mem, Lamed, Lamed, both hands are using staffs of authority. Both hands. It's interesting to know that when both hands have both staves of authority, it would be written this way. Yod, Dalet, Yod. And you would pronounce it as Yedai. But the J came in line. Well, I don't even remember when that was now. Was that 1400s, 1600s when the J came online? You would pronounce this as Jedi. They wouldn't say it as Yedai anymore, but they would say it as Jedi. This is one that has self-mastery over the pillar of light. They have the authority of the right and the left hands. They are producing. They are fully illuminated from the inside out. Why is this important? Because our work here and what we've needed to do, because make no mistake, there has been work that has had to have happened. This is where the message of Jesus in the church has crippled most of us, because we thought that the man named Jesus, by dying on the cross for our sins, and sin just means separation from the one, believing that you were separated from the one is sin. That's it. That's it. Believing that you were separated from the absolute, the Aleph, the one. So the work has been to get the heart chakra online. And this is why. Because the red has already come online, because that's what is giving us the energy to generate this avatar body to be able to operate in Westworld. And we come through the other chakras, the orange and the yellow, and the green ray is the one that we've had to work on to make sure that our heart is fully illuminated, fully online. Why is this important? Because if any of you know about the blue kachina is here. There's images of it already here. There's this blue light, this blue wave that is coming through this entire month. There's 3 waves of it that are coming in this month. That is what activates the crown. This is what shoots that pillar of light, because the crown, the Keter, is when Adam Kadmon comes online and you become a full pillar of light, which is our original template. Blue has been the missing frequency. And it's very interesting, because those who are working as soulless operatives have red light and have blue light, but they have no green light. And the blue light would be considered intelligent energy. So it's from consciousness that is projecting in this lower realm, coming from the fourth dimension. You would know this as egregores. As egregores being projected into Westworld that are not real. They are soulless. They don't have a connection here. And because they don't have a connection here, and because the green light isn't there, when this blue light frequency from the blue Kachina is here and it's activating everybody that has the red light and the green light, they will be full on illuminated, full on activated, and it will be made known who is and who is not. Because the things in Westworld that are in the land of naught, that are not real, are going to cease to be. And this is why we're in this harvest right now. So the work that had to have been done from this point forward was getting the heart online. To actually feel and have that absolute love radiating out from the inside out, which is minus duality. Anything that is causing us to separate and divide ourselves for and against Christ, Antichrist. This has been the biggest entrapment that I have seen that is permutated all the way through Westworld, was believing that the end all be all was the Christ. That's only part of the equation. In order to have heart-brain coherence, you've had to have the Christed mind and the Magdalene heart. If the heart doesn't come online, coherence doesn't happen. And if coherence doesn't happen, because Adam is already red. Adam, literally the word Adam means red. So to be in Westworld, you were given an Adamic body that already had the red chakra online in order for you to operate here. So that green was necessary so that when the blue light comes in and hits in that pineal gland, the whole body is illuminated full of light. And it's been our responsibility to get our heart online. This is meaning we've had to transmute all of that pain and suffering. And if some of you want to call it shadow work, it makes a lot of sense. But this is the part that I want to share with you, those of you, to give you a little bit of hope. Going back to those pictures, and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you just because I want to show it to you. It helps if I can do this. There is a concept that some of you guys know, and there's some of you that do not know this concept. And the reason why you don't know this concept is because I haven't spoken much of it on YouTube land, and occasionally on videos I do. But those who have been with us in our Patreon side would know this as the black fire and the white fire. Why is this so important? Because the black fire, take a look at what we're seeing right here that I am sharing with you guys. The black fire is the Hebrew and the Aramaic letters. They are called the light language. They are called the fire letters. They are called the flame letters. They are the light language. There's many people that are wanting to call the light language something that it isn't. In the New Age, in that high vibes decision of those that are in just another religious system, they call tongues, speaking in tongues, light language. It's just speaking in tongues. It's something that the church has been operating with and knows it very well. But the light language is literally Hebrew and Aramaic. They're called the Chaldean flame letters. And in the time of Yeshua, flame was synonymous with light. Nura is flame. It's fire. It's light, because that's how they illuminated everything. They didn't have light bulbs in the time of Yeshua, but they did have lamps. Think about the oil lamps, the Nura, the lamps that illuminate. The letters themselves are the black light. Why is this important? Because what does the black light do? Take a look at this. So what we're looking at on the picture on the left, you can see the center is black. What surrounds the black is the red, the green, and the blue. So the fire language, the black, the flame letters that are the black fire contain the red and the green and the blue. What happens When you take a look at these flame letters, when you take a look at these letters themselves, it produces what? The picture on the left. It produces the white light on the inside. Do you see that? Yes, Andre Scott? The language of Oreta, the natural law, light's law of the sacred chamber of the heart. That's exactly what it is. So the black fire is the Hebrew and Aramaic language. This is what the tool that I use to get my flame on the inside. Because every time I would break down these Hebrew words, these Aramaic words, I was getting more light in me. Because that's what it was broadcasting. Because it's a reflection. They reflect themselves one to another. So when I am projecting, I am actually projecting. If I am coming from the place of Anana, I am taking my white light and I am projecting that on everyone. But what does that do? If you have a lot of darkness inside of you, if you have too many I am nots and you've indoctrinated yourself, it is going to make you extremely uncomfortable because it's going to show you the darkness that is within you. Because you're taking the pastel lights as a reflected light, trying to bring it in to deal with the blackness on the inside, trying to get that white light to come online. This is a really big deal to understand how we sweep out all of the shadows that are not real, so that in this season that we're in with this blue light that is coming on, we needed to sweep out the heart so that the green ray, the green fullness of the heart chakra was fully online. And the rest of it comes online as you work through the chakra centers. This is why I have shared before of the issue of every time you get a revelation that is coming from the languages themselves through the black fire, it is showing you a place where you're getting an illumination, like a Haliva champagne moment, is to go in there and to continue sweeping out all of the I am nots, all of the things that we thought were real that aren't real, so that the fullness of the real deal can come online. As we are in the harvest season, what is happening with the harvest season is that those who are not real, those who have that darkness in the center, that are the soulless ones that are walking around here, that have projected their consciousness in from the fourth dimension, from that overlay that was hijacked, all the egregores, everyone that is in Westworld that is doing harm to another is projecting from that fourth density that or dimension that is this overlay that has been hijacked, that has been full of all the egregores that we created. And as consciousness has come through that have wanted to play in Westworld as an evil agenda, as an egregore, they had to grab a hold of the egregores that we created in order to put their consciousness in to walk into Westworld. I really want you to understand this, because in this harvest season, we are going to be seeing a whole lot of things out in the Westworld that are going to make us very uncomfortable with what we're seeing, unless you know that the collapsing of that which is not real is so that Westworld can be completely collapsed, so that we can move into the higher density that is that fourth, that green ray body heart chakra that is in the place of real. And the energy that we will be dealing with there is giving and receiving with no taking. The soulless ones, the egregores in Westworld, have to take from those who are the bringers of light in order to even function in Westworld. This is why one of the most important things to do before Anana gets online is set boundaries. You are responsible for your light. You are responsible for the authority of your light. And the very first thing that we learn is the word no. That is one of the most empowering words that we can bring within our language. Why? It's because what I started this entire video out with, no. Lamed Aleph, no and not. You have no access to me until you learn the way of one. And if you do not know the way of one, my light, as one who has authority, as a bearer of light, who has been fully illuminated, is going to stop you from being in my presence, because you need to learn the way of one. And until you learn the way of one, I will continue to say no to you. You cannot take my energy. I do not give you access to my energy. So boundaries are very important. When Anana comes online, and this is what's so amazing to me, you flip that state, and now you are one who has authority. This is the word for God. And some of our biggest issues that we have had within church, within Christendom, is our concept of what God is, because we've put it outside of us. We've actually created an egregore that we've subjected ourselves to, that we put above us, that we have given our worship to. You taking your light back is you choosing to not give your light energy by worshiping a deity outside of yourself. That is a thought form, that is an egregore that does not exist. And until we can stop giving our energy and our light over to that which is not real, we are going to be continued to be subjugated by that. Mastery. One of the reasons why it was written that Yeshua was called Mari, Mari, my Lord, my Lord. The word master means one who has mastered the self, that is walking in the empowerment of the one. They have raised their level of consciousness. They have worked with the energies of Mother, Father, Hallel, Lila. They have unified. They've gotten their flame on. They are walking in Anana. They have gone through what is true salvation, is being illuminated as a light being that has been dimmed by the flesh avatar. But make no mistake, they are the light of the sun on the inside out. They are the Shemesh. They are the burning ones. This is the message of the seraphim, as the burning ones, because they are fully illuminated, walking as the Christed mind in the Magdalene heart that is the light of the world. And there is no nonsense, because they've absoluted themselves in absolute love. It starts with the Aleph. The letter Bet is divided. It means two. Those who are walking in the earth again as El, these would be the new elites. If you want to see change in the world, we need to get our flame on so that we are walking as the strong leaders, the first of the one infinite creator that is walking in authority, so that we can take our rightful position back and dethrone those who are not. Because what happens is we've had this whole system of egregores that have projected their consciousness in, that are soulless, that are the elites of the world, that are actually walking in this opposite state. They have taken the authority away from the one. So when you see this low, yes, it means you need to learn the way of one. But this is one that has no soul. Like, they take authority from those who are the one, but they are not. Please connect to this. You want to see change in the world, then get your flame on and get your L-ship. Because when you get your L-ship, the more of us that get our L-ship, the more of us that won't put up with the egregores, the more of us that say no. When your L-ship comes online, when you are an illuminated body with an avatar skin that you've been cloaked with, but you are fully illuminated, anybody that is not cannot be in your presence. You automatically, as a door, they cannot be in your presence, because the brightness of our turning consumes everything that is not. This is not real. We are consuming that negative energy. Okay, you know one way that you can maybe connect to what I'm saying here? Any of you that are on this live stream with me, if you guys actually saw the movie The Green Mile, I was thinking about that the other day. That was a really hard movie to watch. But the gentleman that was able to take all of that negative energy, he was able to transmute it. Why? Because he was the light of the sun. And in the sun, there is no shadow. There's no shadow. It's complete illumination. It's all light. There is no darkness. There is no shadow. There is no such thing in the light of the sun. So when we're walking through Westworld, in our sense of our state of being, the natural inclination of the heart is to give to those who want to receive. And those who want to receive will turn around and give. There is no taking, because everybody is generating their own light. This is what we're moving into, what you would know as heavenly earth, where there is no taking. It's very interesting that there's a word lakak in Hebrew, and lakak means to take. But generally, almost every time that it is written, the lamed is not written with that word. And the first time I saw that and I did the comparison, I was like, that makes so much sense, because a bearer of light would never take. Because takery is only in the land of not. It's only in the land of Westworld, because those who are not real, those who are soulless, have to take the light in order to operate here. They take from the copper top batteries, those who are actually that are producing the energy. So our awareness is waking up to who we are as the light of the sun, so that we can be Haya. And actually, when we're in that state of being, it's Eye. It looks like this for those of you who know the letters. Aleph, Hey, Yod, Hey. This has been translated as I am, but here's the deal. When one says I am, but they have no idea what they're saying, it's just an egoic construct of the mind where you've just created another egregore, something else for the egoic mind to hold on to. I am, I am, I am. And you know what that does? That's more separation. Because I am in English means you are not. I am and you are not. This is why I have such a passion for the Hebrew and Aramaic language, because it's so expressive in that black fire to bring on the white fire, that when I say Eye or I say Anana, that frequency that goes out, there is nothing in English that can even compete with the vibration frequency of Eye and Anana. Because these letters of light and flame will burn everything in its way that is not. You won't hear me saying and going around and claiming, oh, I am, my I amness. That is an egoic construct that has no power to it. But Eye, the last three letters right here, Haya, means being or is, come to pass. This is a frequency that has two revelations that are here, and it's interesting to see what, even how the letter is formed. If those of you are on Patreon, we just started this week on Wednesday with the first installment of the letter Hey, and it was quite revealing. That's where some of this is coming from that I'm sharing with you today, with the additive light and the subtractive light. There's twin energies here of the greater light and the lesser light that come together in the sanctuary of the heart, where power is really found. And when they unify, they become Eye. Eye is, again, translated as in English as I am. But when I say Eye, and I say that to somebody, Eye, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Because the unification that took place on here was the allowing of the greater light and the lesser light. So this blue light that is coming in 3 waves in the month of December. We've got one wave that's going to be hitting us tomorrow. We have another one on the 18th and another one, I'm pretty sure it's on the 25th. These 3 waves are to fully activate us. So for the month of November, what I suggest for those of you who are maybe are still dealing with some of that pain and suffering, some of those things that you need to transmute, feel your way through the emotions that are surfacing right now. Please do not attach to the narratives that you see in Westworld. If you need to feel an emotion, I'm not telling you to not feel. What I'm saying is don't attach yourself to take a side with anything that you're seeing in Westworld right now. Stay in the place of neutrality. But if you feel the need to cry, if some of those energies and some of the things that you are seeing are overwhelming, feel your way through it. I'm not talking about bypassing, and I'm not talking about stuffing it and trying to be stoic. That is not what I'm talking about, because I'll tell you what, Anana feels a lot. It's all about this heart placement. Feel your way through it. And when you feel your way through it, if you don't bog it down by not, anytime that you bypass something and you don't allow it to flow through you, guess what? It gets shored up in your DNA and it goes into the Akashic records. And we're trying to collapse the freaking Akashic records. Because the first time you see this word in the New Testament, Yeshua says that he wanted to have the Passover meal before he went into the Akash, before he went into suffering, before the things that he had to suffer. And it's the word Akash. We have to sweep out our own Akashic records of all the pain and suffering that happened to us. It is our responsibility, and that is our work right here. The Yod means work. It means the deed of the hand. Power means in direction and work. It's your responsibility to sweep that out. And when you sweep your Akashic records clean of all of that pain and suffering, guess what? Egregores have nothing to hold on to, because it's the pain and the suffering that they feed on in order to operate in Westworld. This is why it's important to flow through the emotions. Don't let them get bogged up and create another Akashic record that an egregore can hold on to as an energy signature to project itself into Westworld in an avatar body. This blue light, we are going to see a whole lot of stuff that's going to be happening this month, especially with those who are and those who are not. So keep your heart open, feel your way through. Don't attach to anything. Don't take any sides. Don't do any judgments. And if you start catching yourself doing a judgment, please stop in that moment, take those thoughts captive and cancel them out. How do you cancel them out? By the opposing opposite energy. If there's something that you catch yourself saying, oh, I hate that, send love and gratitude to it, because our superpower in Westworld, because everything is in those lower vibrations of hatred, bitterness, fear, resentment, all of those lower dense frequencies, our superpower is love and gratitude. Send love and gratitude to it. If you don't like the warfare that you're seeing, send love and gratitude. Send love and gratitude. That is your greatest gift. That is our superpower. That is the material of what Anana is constructed with, is love and gratitude. And when you do that, you get the Christed mind that takes every thought captive, that no longer judges. That's what a Christed mind is one who does not judge that which they see. They are not operating in duality. They've removed all of their pieces off the chessboard. They are in the state of neutrality. Doesn't mean they don't feel. They just don't judge. Christed mind, no judgment. Love and gratitude. Heart-brain coherence. Nothing can stop the power of love and gratitude with a Christed mind and a Magdalene heart. That is what you can do. So anything that is coming in your radar that is coming from Westworld that has to do with pain, suffering, war, separation, division, send love and gratitude. But the only way that you can do that is having love and gratitude for yourself first. If you don't have it in here, there's no way that you can project it. This is not something that you can fake it until you make it. You have no ability of sending it unless you have become it. And if you've become it, you've become a yay. You are a nana. You are the light of the world. You are the salvation of the world, because what we are doing is we are sending the love and the gratitude so we can collapse all of the freaking egregores. We're not just talking about the egregores of things that are written in narratives of the Bible. Satan, the devil, Lucifer, Beelzebub. We're talking about Enlil, Enki, all of the narratives that we have ever bought in about the reptilians, about this and that, and all of these divisions. and all of these labels of everything that we have put out there that has been separating us and them. I don't care what it is. If it's a separation, if there's an angel, if there's a demon, anything that you name that is used as a tool to separate from you as something you are not, you are in the dual system and you're operating with egregores. There's only one love. There's only the absolute, the one infinite creator that we all are. And it's up to us to master that and collapse all the egregores. The ego is the only thing that cares about stories and narratives. That's it. That's the only thing. Anana doesn't, because the heart does not see. It doesn't see the narratives. It doesn't see the books written. It feels, and it emits light, and it is absolute love, and it will draw all men, all who are living unto itself. We will draw ourselves to ourselves because it is the light that draws the light and becomes a greater light. So more of us that get Anana online, more of us that get into that absolute state, the more the egregores collapse. If you want out of Westworld, if you want out of the inversion, get your light on. Flame on, because the blue light is here all this month to completely activate us. And this is the harvest. There's the first fruits, the barley bride, and then the wheat bride. And then after the barley bride and the wheat bride is all of the crushing of the grapes and of the oils, of the olives, and the cutting down of the tree. That's all the harvest stuff of the things that are not. The first wave will be the barley bride who winnowed herself through the spirit and got herself ready, got Anana online as the first of the first fruits that rose up out of Westworld that are not playing in duality anymore. And when she is highlighted, she will assist the rest, the second wave, that are the wheat bride. And the only way to get the fruit out of the wheat is to beat it. The barley was winnowed through the ruach, through the air. The wheat bride goes through a chastening process. And the only reason why it's a chastening is because we end up beating up ourselves. And we're the ones that are judging ourselves. Anana doesn't judge. Absolute love does not judge. And so there will be a season where those that don't make that first wave are going to be judging themselves. But it is that very first wave of the barley bride that is going to come alongside the wheat bride to help her with her judgments so that she will neutralize all of them. And then she comes online. And then it's up to us to close out Westworld, to get rid of all the egregores so that this dual system that we've been operating in will cease to exist. No more pain, no more suffering, no more tears of the pain and the suffering and the harm and the malice and the control and manipulation. It's up to us to do our part. And then together we are the ones that make the difference. But it's about what's going on inside. Because as soon as it goes on the inside, I'm projecting the light of the sun from the inside out. And all egregores that come into contact with me cease to be. That's who you are. If you are here and you've been listening to me, you are the light of the sun, because you wouldn't have been directed to come to this live stream if that wasn't you already. So I'm asking you right now to go sit and meditate on these words, meditate on the Shemesh, meditate on the light of the sun of who you are. Take this time to clear out anything that is keeping you from that. Any thought forms, any writings, anything that is making you feel lesser than. Anything that is keeping you as separated, anything that you are subjecting yourself to, because you are the master of your own domain. And it is up to you to rise into the light of life, into Chaya, into the law of Oreta, the natural law of light of the chamber of the heart, and unify yourselves from the inside out. And when we do this, the rest of the world will be changed, because it is the light of the sun that shines, that will illuminate everything, and everything that was hidden will come to light. And that which is not real will cease to be, because the realness, the true, the life that is setting us free is what we're moving into. That's who you are. That's who I am. I'm hoping to do some more live streams, and I would love to be able to go through Anana together with all of you and actually use the letters themselves, because I think it's important to go through the verses. And if those of you who do not know the language and you get bogged down, then you don't have to join the live streams. it doesn't matter to me who he is here or who's not. I just know that the Ruka the Kucha, the spirit of holiness, the spirit of wholeness, the spirit of the absolute, is asking me to do these things so that we can actually take that photonic light energy that is coming from the black fire and take it within and apply it so that we can sweep out the rest of what is keeping us from our infinite potential of who we are, so that we can erase the board and just become white light, where we are starting fresh, starting new, creating something different. Because that's what we get to move into. And I'm excited to do it with all of you. So thank you for staying here with me today. Thank you for sitting with me. It was a little herky-jerky at the beginning. The internet connection was terrible. There's probably a lot that I'm going to cut out of it when I go back into the live stream, because the second half was most important. So thank you for those of you who hung out with me all the way through. I love you. Haliva, shalom, shalom, and namaste.